Hey lovelies, this is Janelle, the relationship coach behind the Successful Invisible, and I'm here with another episode of Response and React. How Kandi Burruss exposed Todd Tucker's Daddy Daycare Act. Court docs say he pays for nothing, okay? So I need everybody to bring their chairs in close because this one right here, this is not just celebrity tea. This is a masterclass in male audacity, okay? So apparently, Kandi Burruss is in court saying that Todd Tucker, yes, he's always on a scheme, Todd Tucker, has been out here cosplaying as Father of the Year on social media, posting little 2-minute daddy daycare highlight reels. But when it's time to do what fathers actually do, like pay bills, cover childcare, contribute to tuition, handle medical bills, and show up consistently, crickets. According to these court docs, Kandi is allegedly paying for everything: mortgage, nanny, tuition, extracurriculars, travel, medical, daily expenses. Like it's giving single mother with a husband. And here's what's really sending me, okay? Todd is allegedly trying to interfere with her parenting time during the holidays, no less, while she's in New York working. So basically, Kandi is working on Broadway and Todd is working on Instagram. And ladies, I want you to clock this because this isn't even about Kandi. This is about a pattern a lot of women live through. Men who want the benefits of being attached to you, but not the responsibilities of being a husband or a father. So let's get into it because if you're dating right now, you need to know how to spot a man who's performing for the public while privately draining you dry.
Kandi Burruss is calling out Todd Tucker in her latest emergency hearing motion, claiming that she's paying for basically everything, and this persona that Todd is posting on social media as Daddy Daycare is not real. Not only that, Todd Tucker is responding to Kandi's request to seal this divorce by saying, no, he doesn't want that. He feels like it should be public. According to the court docs, they said that the minor children have significant monthly expenses that include but are not limited to nanny, childcare expenses, tuition-related expenses, extracurricular activities expenses, birthday parties, medical expenses, travel expenses, and maintenance daily expenses. They say that Todd has failed to contribute financially to the maintenance and support of the children's needs, leaving the sole responsibility upon the mother. According to Kandi in this court doc, she says that Todd is a self-employed entrepreneur who possesses the earnings and earning capacity to financially support the two minor children and make financial contributions to the children's expenses. She says that Todd possesses multiple sources of income currently and throughout the duration of their marriage. The respondent, aka Todd, does not pay the mortgage or expenses at the marital residence. She says that Todd does not exercise parenting time with the minor children on a significant basis, despite the facade of his 2 to 3 minute social media videos chronicling his quote, daddy daycare on social media platforms. The reason why Kandi is even asking for this emergency hearing is because there was some sort of issue over the holidays. He says since the petitioner filed her petition for divorce, the respondent, Todd, has intentionally and willfully attempted to interfere with the petitioner's parenting time with their minor children. Specifically during the recent Christmas holiday break, the respondent attempted to prohibit the children from traveling to New York to visit the petitioner, even though she had previously incurred costs of travel for the children and provided the respondent with significant notice of her intent to exercise parenting time during the children's designated holiday break. So Kandi is asking the court to come up with some sort of temporary parenting schedule because spring break is coming up and she would like to spend spring break with her children. So according to our friends over Straight from the A and The Girls Are Fighting on X, they're reporting that Todd is objecting to Kandi wanting to have this divorce sealed. In the court filing, Tucker states that the petitioner has incessantly discussed the divorce with various media outlets, including print, televised, and online platforms, while the husband has refrained from any public commentary regarding the matter. He argues that Georgia law presumes court records are public and that Burruss has not shown why this case should be treated differently from other divorce cases. Tucker acknowledges protecting the party's minor children, but asserts the requested sealing is overbroad and asks that the court deny the motion in full.
At this point, Kandi, you just got to fight because that little gremlin is going to try to take every dollar out of your pocket. Because low key, I feel like Kandi could take Todd. I feel like they're the same height. Now, shout out to Us Weekly because the divorce between Kandi and Todd is getting pretty nasty. Now, to give you a timeline, all of this really occurred in December of last year. Now, remember, the last time we had reported on Kandi's divorce, Todd had asked for sole custody. Now, fast forward to January 8th, Kandi and her attorneys had filed an additional statement to the courts referring to parenting time and child support. According to Kandi and her attorneys, she stated that the kids have significant monthly expenses because they do, they're celebrity kids, which includes nanny tuition, extracurricular activities, birthdays, medical bills, travel, and daily needs. Burruss accused Tucker of failing to contribute to the maintenance and support of the kids, needing and leaving it solely to her. Now, mind you, we knew that Kandi was the breadwinner, even though over the years she tried to make it seem like, oh, Todd has it all together. He never did. Now, she also claimed that Todd was gallivanting across the country, child, but he couldn't support his own kid. Now, this is the part that I find the most heartbreaking because according to Kandi and her attorney, she stated that during Christmas time, her and Todd had scheduled when the kids would be picked up and dropped off because remember, she's on Broadway in New York City. She stated that after they had worked out the arrangement of him putting the kids basically on the plane to come see her, he failed to do so. So now she's saying that he is in violation of her parenting time with the children. She stated that he intentionally inferred with their custody time. She also stated that Todd prohibited the children from traveling to New York to visit her, even though she had previously incurred the cost of travel, which means she paid for their flights and hotels and stuff like that. So he's going to purposely keep her from her kids. It be these type. And this is the type of tactic that these type of men and their attorneys scheme up in order for them to be able to get a monthly payout from their significant others. He's asking for sole custody so he could basically milk her until the kids are 18 plus. Now, Todd has not replied to Kandi's statements to the courts, but if he does, I'm going to keep y'all posted.
So I haven't been paying attention to Kandi Burruss' divorce. But today I just decided to kind of like update myself on what's going on. And I'm honestly shocked about what's happening with Kandi Burruss. Well, actually, I wouldn't say I'm fully shocked because, to be honest with you, her mother tried to warn her. And I always say you kind of have to pay attention to what your mom tells you or the warnings they give you because they generally can see things and people around you that you really don't pay attention to or you don't notice. But seeing now that this divorce has become pretty messy and that he is contesting the prenup, I'm really not shocked. And y'all, honestly, one of the worst things that somebody could do when issuing a prenup is to issue it right before the wedding without attorneys being able to kind of decide back and forth. I think a lot of times people kind of do this like guerrilla type of approach to issuing prenups to kind of make the person sign and not have to go back and forth and do all this negotiating. But to be honest with you, you put yourself in a position where your prenup can be thrown out. Especially given the fact that he said, even during filming the episode that they filmed about their wedding, that he didn't really have a chance to like have his attorney look at it. But, you know, he tried to act like, oh, it's all good, whatever, because, you know, he just wants to go ahead and get married to her. I really think that he expected the marriage to elevate him. And while I do think in some ways it did shine a light on him, it really didn't elevate him all that much. It kind of just turned him into a sidekick for Kandi. And you could tell that, especially in recent years, him being a sidekick for Kandi started to become very emasculating to him. And he started to resent her, like, a lot. And y'all, I really, really think that he thinks that whatever he did in being just her partner actually helped in her success. And the thing is, I think the public, and including myself, we all kind of know that Kandi would have been successful regardless of who she was with. Like, let's be real. She was the breakout success technically in her group. And doing that from a girl group is not easy at all. So the fact that she was able to do that even before ever meeting Todd, and she's already a housewife, like, I don't know why he expected that we would ever give him credit for any of her success, because like Todd, you came into the situation with Kandi already being a success. So at this point, I kind of feel sorry for Kandi, and honestly, I don't know, like, I feel like, while I personally hope what I think is not the case, and I hope that everything turns out, you know, as Kandi wants it to, I really, my heart to heart feel like the prenup's gonna get thrown out. Or if not that, even some of his demands are gonna be met, because Georgia's pretty unforgiving when it comes to like women in divorces. Again, y'all remember, Georgia's the state where Usher was able to take his children from, their mother. that state, I just feel like it's very unforgiving to women. So I hope Kandi has a good attorney, obviously, which I'm sure she does. But also, I hope Kandi the best. I hope the best for Kandi. I really do. Like, I don't see how she's gonna be able to get both the prenup upstanded and full custody of the children, given the fact that, like, literally right now she's in another state. She's in New York working. She works a lot in New York. Despite the fact that there's a nanny, generally courts like when the child's with one of the biological parents. So just from the fact that, you know, Todd's able to be home more often, he would seem like the more stable parent for having the kids, like, for full-time custody, just because he's just home more. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's like, I hope the best for her. Like, this is gonna suck.
All right, guys, so I also wanted to chime in on this for a second. So Kandi Burruss ended up coming out letting us know that Todd Tucker was trying to present himself as the most outstanding father. This guy who was at home with the kids, and he is the one who is primarily taking care of the children and doing what he needs to do while also juggling all of these multiple jobs, which is what Kandi Burruss cannot do. Well, Kandi just came forward, brought it to the court and said, wait a minute, this guy is out here and he is traveling. He's doing multiple things. He's running around. He is not with the kids. And now I want not only child support, but I also want some sort of schedule put in place to where he knows when he is supposed to have the kids and vice versa. So whatever plan that he thought that he might have had that might have disseminated the prenup, I think you messed with the wrong one, dude. I don't think that it's Kandi Burruss.
If I'm leaving here with something with a person, baby, it will be Todd Tucker, because that man said I might can't get no money, but baby, I'm taking the kids. And you just not going to sit here and tell me that taking full custody of the kids was not a scheme that was set up by Todd, baby. Mama Joyce, I want to publicly apologize to you, because at first I thought you was a little jealous. I thought you was a little crazy, but you turned out to be exactly right. Now, Kandi, how the hell did you write no scrubs and you wind up with one, sis? Make it make sense. Now, Todd, Kayla complained so much about her upbringing and how you was not so good of a father to her. And now you want full custody of Blaze and Ace. Baby, let's be honest. This is about the bag that you are not able to touch through that prenup. So therefore, you feel like you're going to get to the bag through child support. Absolutely fucking crazy to me. I also feel like because Kandi is leaving you, that you no longer have access to her big pockets, and that's making you mad. And because you're mad, you want her to be mad, and that's why you want full custody of these kids, because your whole point is to hurt her. And I think that's absolutely fucked up. She's a good mother. She's a hell of a hustler and a boss, and she don't deserve this. But that's just my 2 cents.
So y'all, Ty and Kandi celebrating holidays together, and she just filed on January 8th that he not paying for nothing. She paying for child care, medical care, and the needs of the children. She said he online pretending that he's father of the year when he not. Like, Kandi, what's going on? I would never celebrated Christmas with him either. Also, Ty wants her to pay child support. For what? But let me tell y'all, when your family warn you about a man or a woman, you need to take heed today and do some investigation. Because it seems like Ty only wants your money. Even though he had a job backstage or in the background for Real Housewives of Atlanta, at the end of the day, I'll tell him, don't post no pictures of me. I won't post no pictures of you on my social media. But yes, y'all, Ty is draining Kandi. This is getting out of hand. And just today, Ty went to the court and basically said he wants the divorce to be unsealed. So he wants the public to see it. After Kandi said she wants everything to be sealed in private. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that.
This is getting ugly. According to court documents obtained by US Weekly, Kandi claims that Todd does not help out financially with their children, which we already kinda knew. Claims that she pays for everything from nannies to daily expenses, while Todd uses his money to go on out of the country vacation. To the motion filed by Kandi Burruss' lawyers, they claim that it is not fair Kandi has to foot the bill for literally every expense in their life, including their mortgage. I already know Mama Joyce is somewhere irritated that her daughter Kandi did not listen to her, especially considering the fact that she raised the flag about Todd and his schemes literally years ago before they even got married. To the nanny and the mortgage, he also claims that she pays for extracurricular activities, and she claims that she pays for the kids' travel as well. Most shocking is she went on to claim that Todd is not as involved in his kids' life as to paint on social media. She claims that even though Todd posts 2 to 3 minute videos with his kids claiming that he's at daddy daycare, that is the furthest thing from the truth, and he actually tries to get in the way between Kandi having visiting time with her kids. He claims that just over Christmas holiday, Todd made it very difficult for her to see Ace and Blaze. She was expecting for them to come out to New York, but Todd was not wanting them to leave the state of Georgia. That she had planned for her kids to be in New York well in advance, but that kind of fell through due to Todd raising the flag. He is asking for the court to set a custody schedule so there is no confusion in the future. Todd is not just taking it on his back. He actually filed a claim trying to smack down a motion Kandi filed their divorce proceedings sealed. He claims that Kandi goes on interviews and does her Amazon live show talking about their divorce, so there's no reason why their divorce proceedings should be sealed. But I'm curious to know what you guys think regarding this. Kandi accusing Todd of faking his relationship with his kids for the gram is crazy. We already knew that she was paying for everything, so that's not a shocker to me. Drop them thoughts down below. Peace.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube, and that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. All right, let's jump into it. Y'all know how I like to do with all my videos I post. I love to make this a teaching experience for all of my lovely listeners out here. So I'm going to highlight 5 main points from this current situation I like to call AKA round 3 with Todd Tucker and Kandi Burruss in the media. And basically some things that you may want to look out for if you are ever in a similar situation, or just how certain men move in general, especially when you're talking about man who has parental responsibilities. So point number 1, the performative provider red flag. When he plays husband/father online, but not in real life. So social media is not receipts. Consistency is receipts. So Kandi is alleging in these court documents that Todd posts 2 to 3 minute daddy daycare clips, but does not significantly exercise parenting time and allegedly contributes nothing financially. How dare he? This is a major pattern because he has been kind of living off of her shine and her success for the entirety of their marriage, right? Some men don't want to be a provider. They want to look like one. The goal is public praise, not private responsibility. And for a lot of men, whether he has money or not, they are trying to live and impress other men, or impress women who can't see behind the curtain, who they do have more than, based upon the woman that they themselves are with, and they can quote unquote impress. So clock some of this behavior early. If he loves posting family man content, like if you're dating a guy or, interested in a man, look at what he posts on social media. But he gets defensive when asked for consistent support, structure, or responsibility. He sees being a dad as a brand identity, not a duty. So flip it. So if you're starting to talk to a guy and he is a parent and he's posting this type of content on social media, but he gets mad when you ask real talk questions about financial responsibilities and his contribution and his time he's taking with his kid, all things that are relevant because they are going to impact your relationship. Of course, when the appropriate time, once you two are in a groove and he gets upset, girl, that's a red flag. Ask for proof and not passion. If he claims he's a hands-on father, ask, cool, what's your weekly parenting schedule and what bills do you cover consistently? That is a great way to kind of cover both things at once. Watch how he reacts to that question. It will tell you a lot about where his head is really at. Point number 2, financial neglect is emotional neglect. When you're paying for everything, you're parenting a partner. Kandi Burruss is parenting a partner. She has a grown dependent, right? When a woman becomes the financial backbone, she often becomes the emotional backbone too. Remember, Kandi is saying in these court documents, she's paying for the nanny or nannies, all childcare, tuition to the baby schools, the extracurriculars for both babies, birthdays, medical, travel, daily maintenance expenses, mortgages, marital residence expenses, taxes, also just, their clothing, their food, everything that goes into taking care of them or keeping them housed, keeping them safe. She is the one fitting the bill. And Todd allegedly is paying none. I'm saying alleged because we don't know. Court documents, ain't nobody trying to get sued. Okay. This is not a helping husband. This is Kandi is being the only adult, and she's carrying the household alone while he benefits from access. He is still benefiting from access to Kandi and what she can financially provide, right? Even though they're in this separation, estrangement, because she has filed for divorce from him. A high earning woman must understand some men will attach themselves to you, right? Because of your stability, but secretly resent you for being the one with the motion. Yeah, you don't want to mess with no man who ain't got no motion, especially at our big ages, okay? We too grown for that. Then these same men act entitled to the lifestyle they didn't build. That comes from peak male audacity. That is because we live in a patriarchal society. So men, even if they know better in their hearts, they have been conditioned socially and through every form of media from birth that they are entitled to things above women. Okay, so you need to never, ever give a man a lifestyle. And segue on this, Steve Harvey said this to Keke Palmer back when she was dating her baby's dad. It was before she got pregnant. And I know Steve Harvey has been very controversial and problematic, but when he does say things, and he's really trying to impart some wisdom into someone he has a genuine care for, because he sees Keke Palmer like, his daughter. He did not lie. He said, a woman should never give a man a lifestyle. So if he can't meet you where you're at, he is not the one. And that stuck with me because, like I said, I know Steve Harvey can say a lot of things people don't agree with, but that right there, he was spot on. So a relationship coaching tip here is to use the 3 bucket rule before marriage or children. Who pays what? Who manages what, and who is responsible for what. If he can't do structure, he can't do partnership. But also, if a man can't do structure, he can't do leadership. So a lot of men like to bang on their chest and say they're leaders, but their inability to lead is often shown through the lack of structure that they have in their own lives and the lack of structure that they're willing or able to build with you in your proverbial lives, especially if you're going into you want to be engaged and be married. Structure is important. Point number 3, the custody as control tactic. When a man uses the kids as leverage instead of being a father. So in this case, and I think in a lot of cases, some men don't want custody. They want control, but he also want that money, and they got that prenup. Todd allegedly tried to prevent the kids from traveling to New York to see Kandi, even though she already paid for travel and gave significant notice. Kandi filed for an emergency hearing for a temporary parenting schedule. So this is a classic pattern in high conflict separations, right? You have one party who wants to interfere with parenting time. They want to create chaos. They force court involvement. Then they position themselves as the stable parent, right? A man who plays this game is showing vindictiveness, power struggles, and willingness to use children as pawns. That is not a man of strong character. You need to steer clear of a man who would do that with his ex or with a former partner that he shares children with that are minors. A relationship coaching tip here is a healthy man co-parents, a bitter man competes. If Todd was really about his business and it just happened that, the marriage ran its course and they're ready to sunset this bad boy, he would be moving in a very different way. He's also very short-sighted, in my opinion, on the way he's trying to cause all this stress and angst to Kandi. Because if he had sense, he knows people be looking at you when you're going through times of trial, and how you move and you behave during that time is a lot of times how people will assess your character. And right now he is showing himself to be a man of very weak and low character. Remember, the second a person sees parenting time being weaponized, document everything and tighten boundaries immediately. And if you're dating a man who has any parenting challenges with the woman or women that he has children with, you may need to really take a step back and see, is this the type of partner I want, or does he have too much going on that's, I'm going to get pulled into it as well. Not a big fan of women dating men with kids if they have, especially if they don't have kids themselves, but even if they do, especially if your situation is stable, you don't need to bring that type of chaos into your life. Point number 4, when he wants the divorce public, it's about image management and punishment behavior. So privacy protects children. Public chaos protects egos. In this context, Kandi wants the divorce sealed from a child protection angle. Todd objects and argues court records should remain public. He claims she discussed divorce publicly already. Now, I personally think this is a very petty and vindictive move, and I also believe this is going to backfire on him because he seems to forget Kandi has been in the public eye and in the public sphere a lot longer than he has. She knows how to move, and she got a lot of friends in a lot of places that we may not know about. And I'm not talking about anything janky. I think people with money know people like that too. But I think she has a lot of people in her corner that we as the public don't know, and even Todd may not realize are Team Kandi. So I think this kind of move to be petty and not just move through this in a very cordial and civil manner is going to hurt him in the long run. So whether or not he's right legally, the relational red flag is this: the desire for public exposure, escalation, and public narrative control. It's all about control because Todd doesn't have control of the money. He don't hold the purse strings, and he is very threatened by it. But it's silly because you knew she had money when you got with her, dude. So it's a moot point. So in this case, he wants the records public because he wants to try to embarrass her, leak info, and sway public opinion, and then pressure into a settlement. This isn't love. This is litigation, is revenge. And like I said, I have a strong suspicion this is going to backfire spectacularly on him. Remember, if a man threatens exposure when a woman sets boundaries with him, that's with you, that's with an ex he has children with, etc., etc., he was never a safe man. Be very cognizant when a man presents that he is not a safe person. A safe partner protects your name, even when angry. An unsafe one tries to ruin it. And it also says a lot about character. If you and a person are going through things, and please understand, this isn't just in romantic relationships. If you and a person are in some type of contention or stress, and you just kind of hold your peace, you have your private circle of people and confidence who you are kind of going to for guidance, you're praying about it, whatever you're doing, what you need to do to work through the journal in it, but you stay quiet, you're not out trying to humiliate the person, that is a reflection of your character. But if you or another person is out and you have something going on with somebody and you trying to shame them on social media and put it out on the street, that says a lot about their character. I have to admit, now every circumstance is different. There are some things that if you're going through it, if you're being abused, you need to probably expose that at a more public level. I'm not talking about situations like that where you probably are helping the next potential victim by being public. I'm talking about in general, you and a friend fell out about something. You know what I mean? There's a way to handle it with decorum and class, and you need to behave like that. And you should absolutely have expectation of a man to behave like that when he's going through something, right? With his ex, with you, with his baby's mom, ex-wife, whatever. Point number 5. The resentful sidekick syndrome. When he marries up, benefits, then turns hostile. Some men marry successful women for access, then resent them for it. This is exactly what Todd did. Todd came into that marriage already knowing Kandi was that girl, right? She had been writing music. She had been in music. She has hits. My girl got hits, right? Todd came in expecting the marriage to elevate him. He instead became a sidekick to Kandi publicly. And it increasingly, he became resentful over time, now allegedly contesting the prenup, and now he's making custody moves because if the prenup is as ironclad as we all believe it to be, he's not going to get spousal support. He's not going to get alimony. But this is where he's also short-sighted because all of the businesses that she was willing to pour into while they were together and the fact that they're not really producing income and able that he can walk away with something says a lot about his ability to actually run a business, right? This man is not the money man he is trying to portray himself to be. So this is a very common dynamic where a woman is the star or the breadwinner, a man enjoys access, then the man later feels emasculated, and instead of building his own lane, he tries to tear hers down. So signs that this is developing, and we really need to watch out for this, especially the ladies that I have the pleasure of working with as a coach, is because I'm dealing with, ladies who are making well into the six figures, highly educated, have their own, home, cars, properties, etc. Signs this is developing is he makes passive aggressive comments about her work. He makes jokes. Remember, men's jokes are never jokes. He minimizes that woman's achievements. He starts playing victim. Then he competes with her instead of contributing. It's a very weird dynamic. Ask early, do you admire ambitious women or do you resent them? A man who benefits from your light but hates the attention it brings will sabotage you eventually. Do not try to make excuses for this behavior. It is what it is. So let me know your thoughts on these 5 points and what you have seen in Todd's behavior through, this coming out, them filing for divorce, Kandi filing for divorce a few months ago. But also, if you've ever been in a relationship where you were the breadwinner, or you were the one with the clout, you were the one with the motion, and you were with a man who was very resentful of that, and how that situation turned out. All right. So let me know. All right, so let me wrap this up like this. Whether Kandi wins every argument in court or not, the lesson is already loud, because what we're seeing here is a pattern that shows up in regular women's lives every single day. A man who wants access to your lifestyle but doesn't want to contribute to your load. A man who wants the optics of being a family man, air quotes, but behind closed doors, you're still the one carrying the mortgage, the child care, the planning, the emotional labor, all of it. And ladies, please hear me. If a man's provider energy exists only on Instagram, but disappears when it's time to pay bills and show up consistently, that is not daddy daycare, babe. That is a grown dependent. And I don't care how cute he looks making pancakes on TikTok. I don't care how many girl dad captions he posts. If he's not carrying weight, he's dead weight, because a real man isn't performing fatherhood. He's practicing in it. He's engaged in it. Okay. Now, if you want to learn how to spot these patterns early, before you get emotionally invested, before you build attachment, and definitely before you let a man move into your life and your pockets, then you need to come join my exclusive coaching community on Coffee, because in there, we don't just sip tea. We break down behaviors, red flags, and manipulation tactics in real time. And I teach you how to clock a man immediately, set boundaries without guilt, and move like a woman who refuses to get played. So if you're done with men who perform love but don't provide stability, and you're ready to start dating with clarity, strategy, and standards, come join us on Coffee. The link is in the description box below. And until next time, my loves, stay woke, stay pretty, stay out of daddy daycare situationships.